Okay, got it. Um, all right. Is there a team in particular that you'd like to watch or game that you'd like to watch?
Um, Not really. My favorite game to watch is La Sierra. I had a lot of big returns in that game, but not in particular. It doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, we'll choose St. Anthony. Okay, so this I know this isn't you at quarterback right now, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, so I think what was going to really help you play quarterback is the fact that you have a little bit of experience playing safety. So you have a basic understanding of base defenses and probably what a lot of the defensive player responsibilities are. And so um, it's cool that we have this little one-on-one opportunity because the way I look at the game is I look at the game basically from a perspective of like I think I had mentioned this to you on the field. It's like a game of chess, right? I'm trying to replace my pieces, or your pieces with my pieces. And it's a game of mismatches and it's a game of also understanding um, each player's responsibility in each coverage and also how those players' responsibilities change when certain routes are ran at them or certain concepts are ran at them. And so I really trust what I see. And yeah, that's just kind of like a basic overview, I think, of how I'm looking at it and how we're going to talk about the game. So, first and foremost, what personnel are we in? I know your personnel.
We're in what is this, 10?
Mm-hmm. We're in 10 personnel. And the number one question I'm always asking myself, and if you're a guy that remembers well through like pen and paper and writing things down, feel free to write any of this stuff down. These are, what I'm about to talk about is, stuff that um, it's everyday stuff or every down stuff when it comes to the field. First question you want to ask yourself is, am I protected? And that's whether it's a pass play or it's a run play. Do you know what I mean by that?
No, not really. You said when it's like pass, do you mean like is the running back there for extra help or stuff like that?
Yeah, basically. So basically, I'm trying to count the numbers in the box. That's the first thing I'm doing to figure out whether or not I'm protected. So right now I'm in 10 personnel. So how many guys do I have to protect me, the quarterback, if I were to drop back and pass?
Six, including the running back.
Correct. So I have six guys, right? And so right now I'm looking at the box and I see six in the box. I'm counting this little like overhang here or this nickel or outside backer, whatever you want to call him. That's inside leverage of number two. I'm counting him as being in the box. So in terms of like blitz threats, right? Like that's who I'm most focused on right now in terms of protecting me. I have six to protect those six. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay. So next thing I'm going to is like, all right, let's say this was a run play. Now how many guys do I have protecting the ball carrier?
Five.
I have five now. So in terms of a numbers perspective, from our blockers to the defense, is there somewhat of an issue here?
Yes.
Yes, right? We're outnumbered by one. So we're putting ourselves at a potential disadvantage. Now, you could maybe argue that, like, hey, I could just run like this outside zone and get away from this defender here. I could see that argument, 1,000%. But do you know another way that we could potentially, from an offense perspective, um, even out the numbers? What kind of
As far
play could even out the numbers of the blocking scheme here?
as far as like passing or running,
Running the ball, because right now we're 5 for 6. Sorry, still on the run topic here.
couldn't we do like a counter,
Could you elaborate on that?
like backside guard and tackle pull?
Okay, yeah, we could. That's another good run play that we could run here to get away from this defender or from this extra potential box player. I like that. Great thought. It's teaching me what you know about the game so far. Okay, what else?
S- a sweep wouldn't work because in the it'll flow, everything will flow.
You think
Maybe.
so you don't feel outside zone will work here because everything will flow down this way, or they'll flow towards the play? How explain that to me?
Yeah, because I know from like experience, we're taught as like once if you're lined up in the box, always scrape over the top until your gap opens up. And I
Hmm.
know we can do it. Oh, read option.
There you go. There you go. So maybe this is that's funny that you're it's funny. I actually haven't just based on what you know so far about defense, I haven't coached a quarterback that has even your defensive experience so far. So I guess excuse my offensive minded bias when I feel like a sweep would work because now we kind of have 5 for 5. I know we have a three defenders here out to the field. You're saying that the backers and people in the box are going to scrape over, and go make that play. I think that we're gonna block that and be able to seal you inside and
It
have.
could work if you had like if they weren't in cover two, it could work. But if you had like trips over there, maybe it could work. But I know for sure this backer on the outside is gonna just scrape over the top until he can fit outside the pool because this backer also has to fit through his gap. So he
Which
comes from
well, who is the second? Which backer is the second? You're talking about this Mike here, this guy over the middle.
no, he's the first guy that's gonna scrape because more than likely it's gonna the linemen are gonna release on the sweep. So he'll like hit the outside shoulder of the first lineman, and then the back on the other side has to get over and fill his gap. His gap is still there, just moves with the lineman.
So that's awesome. Um, okay, so well, ideally, these these linemen are going to release and immediately read that, right? But that doesn't mean that they don't have certain gap assignments or certain stunts potentially. Maybe you've already watched this film already. This is the first time I'm watching this, but are you saying that they would potentially just immediately release out and read the sweep right away?
Oh no. The offensive lineman is gonna release to block. That's how the
Sorry.
linebacker scope. But the D end definitely, as soon as they release, he's crashing in because he has to knife in to
Sure.
force them to run outside into that corner because they have numbers over here. And that's
Uh-huh.
why the linebacker scrapes. He gets inside the release from the offensive lineman to make that running back have to go to that corner.
Got it. I totally see how that would work. Um, I wish I could see this from the back view. I think if I did call a sweep here, and I'm not saying that I would just do my best to try to get that tackle to seal that D end inside, try to wash him down, um, and see if we could potentially work up to that next level of this backer scraping out, like you said. That would just be the best way to block it. But you're absolutely right. From a numbers perspective, it would not work. So I'll take that. I'm wrong. Um, Counter would work, yes. Zone RPO would work as well because that creates a numbers game for us. Yeah, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm just thinking right now. Sorry, I just get like real quiet when I get thinking.
No, you're good. Zone RPO would work because that would really help out with the numbers game, which is what they do here.
Yeah,
What you guys do here, yeah.
yeah, because yeah, he runs the bubble here, and then
We leave this
uh
end free here to the
yeah,
backside. Yep.
yeah,
So, hey, makes sense why the play worked. You guys had numbers, you know?
yeah, and then they also had like they had no choice but to run stuff like this as far as running game because they had like a super nice DN.
There you go. Put him in a bind, right? Force
Yeah,
him to have to guard two different people.
yeah, can't
Okay.
really, but
No, go ahead.
I can't think of any running concepts. Like, would would trap will work on this, wouldn't it? If he lines up on the like outside like he did inside of two,
Um, sorry, if he lined up where you said?
that overhang stays like where he's at. Can't they run like a? Can we run like a dive or a trap right up the middle?
Um,
No, we still be outnumbered.
it just depends on how well he would, read that inside run, you
Yeah,
know.
that's what I was thinking.
Um,
Like maybe if we
and I
have
think no, sorry, go ahead.
the receivers scoot out a little more, but no, he can still read it pretty good.
Yeah, I think the point I'm trying to get at is that, the run game is a numbers game a lot of the times. Now, in this situation here where you have that backer over number two to the boundary, right? He's kind of like midway. He's like kind of at that like weird like midway point where you're like, do I want to consider him? It also kind of depends on how good your guys are versus how good their guys are, right? Do I feel it, if you're looking at this from like, hey, I'm St. John Bosco and we're playing against, one of the lower level Trinity leagues, like we're running this rock, right? Because they know they have the guys and they have the players to do it, right?
Yeah,
But if you're pretty evenly matched, then I feel like it's smart to stay true to the numbers game. The second thing I'm looking at going into my process really quick is I'm looking at how many safeties they have. I'm looking at how many safeties the defense has, just pre-snap. And I think that in high school, a lot of the times you're seeing a lot, you're seeing like max 4 to 5 looks defensively, at least on a consistent basis. And
yeah.
so, huh?
First, the first two is main like cover two, cover three.
Say again, sorry.
Like the main two is like cover two, cover three.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on who you're playing. I think that there are definitely different D coordinators out there that, try different things. But I would say that the most common is like a cover two and cover four are almost turning into the same dang thing.
Yeah,
Um,
we played a lot of teams that play like quarters defense.
uh-huh.
Like a lot of teams. I think like almost every team we played towards like the midway point to the end of the season play, I think quarters defense.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm seeing a ton of quarters as well, and I think what's happening, and I don't know, maybe you've been taught this as well, but at least from my perspective as a quarterback, is like quarters especially against like the a lot of 10 and 11 personnel that I think people are seeing because it's turning into such a passing game. um what it does is it like it basically it puts safeties and corners into man-to-man matchups, like the way it's being taught. Like a lot of safeties will, you know you guys will be taught to break on routes by number two or by the slots, um, between 10 and 15 yards. And so say like you have like to this side, like imagine he's just a little bit further back, or yeah, we'll just use the field for example for now. And say, okay, hey, number two, I'm running a I'm running an out at like 10 to 12. And then my number one, he's running a post over the top. Like when I see quarters, I get excited because I'm like, oh, I know there's a lot of potential that these safeties have a read for number two to basically break on it.
Yeah.
Like, and it almost it's like almost like they're being taught like, hey, and man, if the route goes past 10 yards, it turns into man to man.
Yeah, because then it's like you have to carry out the seam and then break on the
Yeah, there's too
next.
many responsibilities. You guys, it's too much. Defenders have to think a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot of thinking.
Defenders have to think a lot. You guys are constantly reacting to quarterback footwork, run read, pass read, concept read, then also dropping into your zone. And then shit, if you're a man to man, whew, it's a whole different story.
I think I probably got beat like every time, man to man. I gotta look and make sure I still am fulfilling like the run game because depending on where you lined up, you still have a gap, and it's like you gotta make sure
Sure.
it's no. You gotta get back to your man. It's a lot.
Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse my dog.
I know you good.
Um, but yeah, so quarters, that's I love quarters, but that if that's what the most basic coverages you're going to see are 2, 3, and quarters. And what I was saying is 2 and 4 have become really they've almost like a lot of teams have tried to mesh them together. You know, hey, one of the most a lot of a very common read for a corner is, hey, I want you to read 2 to 1. So if I if his responsibility is read 2 to 1, right? And we run a go with an out concept, right? He's going to sink initially because this is a vertical threat, right? So
Yeah.
he's number 2 going vertical. So sink, 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 sink. And then he's going to break for the flat. And then that's, whoop, 2 went flat. I got to go. It's going to be delayed, right? Now, what if we run that same concept, but now it's 10 yards? What do you think he's going to do?
I know.
And he's got to go.
They'll probably go with the go and then
Yeah.
say
Because
out.
like I said, you guys got so much to think about.
Yeah.
He's going 10 yards vertical. He's also got this vertical threat, right? And shoot, what's this safety's responsibility in quarters or even cover 2? He's seeing a vertical threat too. So
Yeah.
how aggressive is he going to play over the top of this? How is he going to play the out? You guys are constantly reacting. So this is like I think a conversation I want to continue to have maybe in a film session or two because I'm learning very quickly how much you know about the game from a defensive perspective, which is like I said, going to help you significantly. But I wanted to kind of just finish with the process of like how I'm going through uh, the defenders pre-snap before I even get into my routes, what the play is, that kind of thing. Okay. So, like I said before, I'm reading the safeties first. I'm trying to get an idea for how many high safeties I'm going to get post snap. Right. So, um, oftentimes there's a really big tell, like almost like in poker, where you can tell whether or not these guys are going to roll. It's very rare that teams will, in high school, will be, excuse me, really good at disguising a safety roll. There's going to be some sort of tell that gives away the roll. So I go to safeties, and then the next thing I'm going to is corner depth. I'm going to the depth and the leverage and eyes of the corners, and then the rest of the defenders. That same exact checklist: depth, leverage, and eyes. So right now we'll go through this. Number one thing that I am making sure of before anything else with my play is am I finish that sentence for me if you remember it.
Protected. Am I protected?
Am I protected? Right? So
Yeah.
right here I am protected.
Yeah.
I am protected. Okay, the second thing I'm going is to how many high safeties I have. So how many high safeties do you think you have?
Two.
Okay, I have 2 high safeties. And now I'm going to the depth and leverage of the corners and the rest of the defenders. Corners first, though. They're going to
Yeah.
give you a lot of answers.
Okay.
So where are they, in your opinion?
They lined up about 3 to 4 yards off the ball.
Uh-huh. Where are their eyes?
Eyes look like. I mean, It looked like they're in the back. They're in the backfield. They're in the
Uh-huh.
backfield.
They're in the backfield, and then what's their leverage on on their receiver that they're lined up over?
Outside.
Okay, so based on all of those, and then now you can go into these guys. Who are they all looking at?
They're looking in the backfield.
Okay, so based on first off, I'll give you an easy one. Based on the eyes of literally every single defender, are they in zone or man?
They're in zone.
Okay, they're in zone. Okay. And based on how many high safeties there are and the depth and leverage and eyes of the corners, what coverage do you think they're in?
Cover two.
Nice. See how that works?
Yeah.
And from a defensive perspective, you're going to be able to do that. You know, you know all those things already, right? It's just your
Yeah.
responsibility. It's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Is it interesting to hear that from a quarterback perspective?
Yeah. Just the breakdown made it so much easier too. Like just to recognize the defense.
Yeah. Okay, so we run the ball here. Cover two is a great run, a great defense to run the ball against, right? We talked about that on Tuesday,
Yeah, it is.
right? Forces the linebackers that they got to make a play. Man, you guys are running the ball well.
Yeah, we pounded. I don't know. We fell apart low key like this game. I kind of messed it up too, but not
Are you
really. I
playing
think
running back here?
no, I muffed a punt, but it was like it wasn't a punt that nobody cared about. It was like a big punt that I muffed.
Oh
It was
man. Hey
really
dude,
bad.
mistakes happen, man. You just gotta keep moving forward and like, past is the past. Keep moving on. It's so tough, but gotta keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Um, well, shoot, man. You must. I haven't seen any videos of your returns. I would like to watch one if you can reference one before the end of tonight. Um,
Definitely. La Sierra, like that has the best returns.
okay, well, we'll have to watch it before we head out tonight. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's this 12-yard rush. Here's you see, look at the defense really quick, just from a pass perspective. Like, look at coverage, depth, leverage, eyes of the secondary and the backers. Right? You see this picture, correct?
Yes.
Are you guys playing Saint Anthony again next year?
I think so. I have to. He
Okay.
actually sent the schedule. I'll tell you.
Okay. So very likely if you are, this is how they're going to be playing cover two. As
Yeah,
long as as long as they have the same staff. Watch how this next play, look at the alignment again.
same thing.
Same exact thing, right? So that's pretty base, right? That's about that's about as much of a Madden picture as you can make it, right?
Yeah.
So they keep it simple when it comes to their zone coverage and what they disguise. Okay, now here's another perfect example of, in my opinion, this is a very easy disguise. Number one question I'm asking myself: am I protected?
No.
You see those three backers or the three players at the second level,
Yeah, and look like the outside guy about the blitz.
right? Because why the heck is he over there when there's no other player over there really to guard,
Yeah.
right? Here's what I'll say: is one of these guys could potentially be covering the back.
Yeah, I got my money on the middle guy.
If he sits and checks, they're all coming. If he free releases, two of them will come.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you're not protected.
Right.
Okay. So, coverage wise, going into, the next question, how many high safeties do I have?
Is there? I can't tell, but it doesn't look like there's one behind that post. So, and then there's
No, because
zero.
there's 7 here
Yeah.
and then there's 4 here. So that's 11.
Yeah, it's zero.
So it's 0, right? But it's off 0.
Yeah.
That helps. Now receivers have free releases.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but here's the thing, and you're going to appreciate, I hope you appreciate this from a defensive perspective. They're playing off for what reason?
deep routes.
Okay, to protect over top.
Right.
So they're going to be giving you something underneath potentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's definitely our attack point. That's what we're thinking. We want to think what kind of routes could we run here in a situation like this against zero? Pass concept. Because we can't run the ball because we're not protected.
No. We can routes like a concept or
Yeah, give
routes
me a
like
concept from let's just go with trips right here. This trips right look right here. What could you
trips.
run from a passing point of view?
Definitely a slant. I say probably a slant on number two, and
Mhm.
then like an arrow on number one, and then number three probably a dig just to get him out the way.
Okay, so let
And
me make sure I'm going to draw this to make sure we're on the same page. So dig by three, slant by number two, and then arrow.
oh wait, I totally said that backwards. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A dig by number one. Sorry, dig by number one.
Okay,
Slant by
dig by number one. Uh-huh.
slant by number two,
Slant by number two,
and an arrow by number three.
and arrow by number three.
But like one of those stop and go arrows, like let the slant go and then um run the arrow. And then
Gotcha.
for
Okay, and then what would you want to? What's your isolated route?
um depending on the matchup, if I had like my guy over here, I definitely go like post. But
How deep's the post? Remember, you're unprotected.
I say about probably 5, 6 steps to the break. So that's probably about 6, 7 yards.
Okay.
Then
Um, got it.
no. Mm, unprotected though. That might not. Or under because yeah,
Okay.
that's the match point. And then mm, and then
Don't overthink this now because you're unprotected, right?
right.
Think of
If
this as like what the defense's responsibility is here and how much time you think you have to go get that quarterback as that free rusher, right? So you don't have too many options here from a quarterback perspective because that's what you're assuming as a quarterback is getting ready to happen.
yeah,
You've probably got a max of a second and a half to throw the ball. That's what you have to think about because you're not protected. You have a free rusher coming. So you only got a couple options here with trying to um, throw the football with this route concept. I don't mind this route concept. Um, I think the main concept that you want to throw here is this slant flat that you just drew up.
yeah. That's the slant was definitely the first option.
Yeah. So what I would say though is that um, you did mention that you would have the flat delay. I would
Yeah,
want that flat to get out of there as fast as possible.
right away.
Yeah. And why is that? Who do you think has him?
This the middle wait, what the middle corner.
So you think they'll switch if they see each other cross?
Oh, if I was in that position, I would call it in and out just because of the hassle to get over and down. But I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. He might chase
Hey,
though.
here,
That's a strong.
look. Okay, I love this conversation, DeAndre. I really was not expecting. I wasn't expecting this. But here, I'll counter with this. What if the slant delays and makes this middleman preoccupied with him for a little longer? and then this flat goes. Does that change your answer?
Yeah. If if yeah, if that goes, and they won't switch at all. You can't.
Ah,
Yeah, so the slant would
so now
help.
we're getting a little bit even more advanced. Now it depends on how you're running the actual route.
Mm,
It's not just the concept, but it's now how you're approaching that route for timing purposes against man.
yeah.
This is cool. Really didn't expect for this conversation to get this advanced. That's awesome that this is your knowledge of the game. Um, so yeah, that would put them in a really tough position, right? Defensively.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect lesson right here in uh, my usual. It's tips about the fact that it's more than just throwing the ball and spinning it. We got to be on the same page with our receivers here. If
Right.
if we're running the slant flat by number 2 and number 3, right? We got to make sure that they understand the situation as well, correct?
Yeah.
Because if they go in because from your perspective on the defensive side, if they go in there and just, run this sloppy and the timing isn't right, they, just like you said, they could make that switch pretty effectively and they could break up this play.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll say this, and maybe you already know this. These guys are not always the most knowledgeable with the game.
I know they just got there for like the
They're just trying
touchdown.
to catch the ball and get Instagram likes.
Yeah.
I want the ball, and that's all I care about. And bro, it changes a little bit once you get to college. Changes a little bit, but I think it's just be patient with explaining situations. Hey, they're in man right now.
Yeah.
They're in, don't be afraid to call out what the defense is in. If anything, that's intimidating the defense. Okay, so this little slant flat, I like hitches here. I like just
That's
going
what
like
I'm
all hitches, right? Maybe even a little stick concept, which is if are you familiar with what a stick concept is?
For this, I think it's called like Padre for us. For us, I think it's called like Padre or something like that.
Okay.
I
And
got
then
you.
the backside can be like a hitch or a
It's like,
slant or
yeah,
even an out, depending on it's just really all it depends on is preference of the quarterback and matchup, like you had mentioned even earlier.
yeah,
But right now, from this perspective, right? Like, hey, if I like my one-on-one matchup to the backside, I'll take it. Especially
yeah,
if I see this guy here. Ooh, that's slant. That's a good look right there, right?
yeah,
If he's
yeah,
coming down and he's blitzing, man, that middle of the field is open, right? That's a
yeah,
tough play for this guy to make. Like, oh my God, there's no one there, right?
yeah,
Um, Also, you have your stick and your out as well. Because we know what's this corner going to do because he has no safety help and he has a vertical threat by number 1, the man he's guarding.
he's running with the
He's got
number
to
one.
go. He's got to go. So my sideline's open for sure.
Yeah,
My sideline's open. I don't need to worry about the corner being out there. I got to trust that my vertical is going to go. But I'll tell
yeah,
you what you're also going to see a lot of as well at your level and this has to do with verticals, and this is a majority of the time. If that vertical doesn't think he's getting the ball, he's going to turn his head so early and look back at you and stop running his route so often. And that is one of the worst things they can possibly do. It screws the whole play. Because if he's in man or he's in cover 2, he's a cover 2 flat defender, he's a corner, right? And sees that vertical just kind of lazily run at him. What's that allow him to do? Does that cause him to sink vertically or does it allow him to kind of stay and play both?
it allows him to stay and play both.
Yeah. So as quarterbacks, we got to really be conscious of especially the outside receivers and inside receivers when they're clearing out safeties, like with seams or like middle posts. We need to make sure that those guys are running and understanding that. I mean, they're literally the most important responsibility. They have the most important responsibility to play. That makes sense?
Yeah, I got you. I'm just writing this down right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me know if you need me to repeat anything or slow down.
All right, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so we've seen two defenses by St. Anthony. We've seen cover two and we've seen zero. So they've got two different looks so far, and this one looks like a slightly different one as well.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to disguise something, but like, I don't know.
Well, it's the second time that you guys have gone trips. So,
Yeah, and they went back to zero. It looks like.
well, I you can't really. I don't know if they're in zero or not. I'm not sure yet. We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch the play.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Wait. One
So
more
they kind of
time.
drop into coverage, yeah.
Yeah,
So to
kind
me, this is
yeah.
so to me, this is just cover three.
It's like a buzz three.
Yeah, it's just it to me, it's just cover three. And gosh, I've learned, I've heard so much dang football language um, throughout throughout going to different schools, having different coaching staffs. Um, I had from from my senior year or from freshman to my last year of college, freshman year of college to my last year of college, I had one, two, three, four. Oh wait, one, two, three, four, five coaching staffs, five different coordinators, um, five different quarterback coaches, and all the different language that is used. Man, I do my best to just try to simplify things. And so if I ask you like what you mean by the language you use, just know it's because I'm just curious of like how you're wording it because I've also heard guys use like the same language but mean four or five different things, and it always just cracks me up, man, because I think a lot of the times a lot of people will they just use it because they think they sound smart, um, and not saying that they aren't, but I don't know why I was going there with that, but I don't know if my language is I just see this as cover three. I don't care who's buzzing. I don't care who's freaking nickel or backer or safety or whatever. You guys are
Yeah.
in those zones, and I know how to attack you when you look like that. So I think that's what I was trying to get at. So I see three high, right? I see two corners that are deep. I see one safety that's deep. And so what kind of concept do we run here? Let's see if we can make a little read here. All right, we got a little curl flat. I like it. It's a good concept. Bam, throw that curl. Good read. Did they catch it? Incomplete. Nope. That's all right. Good decision here. Um, do you know how we're reading curl flat? It's a
Girl,
great. Go ahead.
first,
Sorry.
first, do we look at the first look at the corner?
Okay.
Then
Why?
because well, it depends on what defense they're in, but
Ah, good.
if they're in like if
So
they're
what
in
defense are they in right now? Let's be situational here. And what defense are they in now?
three,
They're in three. Okay. So you still looking at the corner?
I'm looking at that strong safety.
Ah, I like it. I like it. And who's a strong safety right now in your eyes? Black Sox or no Sox?
Black Sox.
Okay, so Black Sox is strong safety. Very likely the next defender inside of the corner is going to be your flat defender, right? He's
Yeah.
going to be your key. Okay. So you're looking at him. Are you worried about anybody else? Just curious.
Um, not not if this ran from the if the curl is ran from the outside, not necessarily the corner. Eventually, like if he breaks hard on the curl, but not really because the safety is gonna go with the He's gonna like slide over with the seam.
Nice. Okay, who else is going to potentially slide over with that seam?
This Sam.
Good. Okay, so here's what I would suggest. Now, against and this is just for this is more advanced. Um, but this is your flat defender here.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that like really just kind of like you almost want to bring your eyes, you want to try to see if you can hold that Sam potentially a little bit, right? Because if I swing my eyes all the way over to the flat right away, you have the potential for the defense to shift. Now, I know that number three's route is going to really help keep that Sam honest. Um, but what if number three, because this happens in high school and many other levels too, what if he goes underneath Sam and goes too shallow?
Allows him to kind of get his hands on him more to reroute and push back into his zone.
And does it cause him to like, could it cause him to like, and if he sees quarterback's eyes though, because he's going to read quarterback's eyes, right? As he drops back.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's kind of seeing route, he's seeing eyes of the quarterback, he's reading run. He's like we said, he's got a lot to think about, right?
Yeah.
So if he sees quarterback's eyes go immediately to the right, and then the route that he's over pushes inside and is too shallow, I don't
Going
know. Maybe this is just my perspective, but don't you think that he's going to go in,
yeah,
or
he's just gonna pass him on. He won't engage with the route at all.
yeah? And what could that potentially do to your curl route?
It'll take up the window. He'll sit right under it.
He could sink right under it. Exactly. That happens a lot. So knowing what you know pre-snap, you got a really good idea. Look, I know they're in three right now. I know what all three of those, all everyone's responsibility is here. So based on that, how can I manipulate that with my eyes and use the routes to my advantage? So here, what I would suggest is almost kind of just like holding him with your eyes, because holding him with your eyes is still going to allow you to see the flat defender with your peripheral. And then once he sees that you're looking at him at first, he's going to think, why is he looking at me? And then the next thought is, I need to find the concept. I need to find the play that's coming my way that's causing the quarterback to look at me. You see that mind game I just played with you?
Yeah.
So that's going to hold him for just the amount of time you need to make sure that you still now have that 2-on-2 matchup with that curl flat. Now he blitzes and immediately puts himself out of position. Now, could you argue though that he could just like boom go?
He can, but I doubt he'll make
That'd be
his.
hard, right? That'd be tough. That'd be tough. I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
unless he's like a crazy athletic,
That'd be
big.
tough. That'd be tough. As soon as he sprints up, he puts himself out of position. But I guess what I was talking about earlier, that's some more advanced stuff, right? In terms of, um, you're playing against some guys, man, and you can't just be so obvious with your eyes. There's got to be some manipulation happening there, especially if your receivers aren't necessarily always doing their responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a complete pass. We got to watch this one. We'll end on this one. Hopefully, it's a somewhat of a long one. Oh, slant flat. I love it. Here
Yeah,
we
there
go.
it is.
Huh?
No, I was celebrating.
No, this is great. This is perfect. This is an excellent look against what kind of defense are we seeing here?
Looks like it looks like zero, but his eyes are in the backfield. The ones that's on number two.
Okay,
Is it?
and so
No,
here, so
this
we'll go
is-
through it. Hold on, we'll go through our checklist really quick because this is going to answer the question for you. We're in two
yeah.
by two right now. Am I
Mhm.
protected?
No.
Why not? Who do you think? Is there a seventh man that you're concerned about?
Wait, am I tripping? Oh no, I didn't catch
From a
the
pass
back.
perspective now. Sorry, not a run. From a run perspective, no, we're not protected.
We are protected from the pass because of the running back, and there's the
Gotcha.
one.
And there's one safety. And now where's everybody else's eyes? Let's look at
Uh,
all the members of the secondary. Depth, eyes, and leverage too. Leverage is another big one. Eyes is another big one.
the inside defenders, eyes on the backfield.
Hmm.
Outside defenders, eyes are in the backfield, and he's like about, I'd say, 7 to 8 yards off the
Okay.
outside corner.
Yep.
So he's gonna bail, which means they're in cover three
There you go.
because the inside defenders is about 4 to 5 off.
Yep. And this dude here is just kind of playing funny.
Yeah,
He's just kind of cheating the flat,
it threw me
right?
off.
But shoot, you could argue right now that middle of the field is open,
Yeah, typically it'd be because of his fault that the
especially
middle.
the field,
Yeah,
right? Because as
yeah,
safety, he's not protecting the middle of the field right now. He's like right over the ball, and he's not really that far back. His depth isn't that far. Okay,
yeah,
so regardless though, slant flat. This is a great play against this coverage. Got some good play calling so far. Okay,
yeah.
so you're just reading. Who are you reading?
For slant flat, I'm reading the curl flat defender in the corner. Right? No, he's gonna bail, so I'm just reading him.
I just
See
got
if
my
he.
eyes on him, man.
Yeah,
Whatever he does, I don't.
he goes there, so
He
it
goes
goes.
flat, I go slant. And so my philosophy is we read defenders. You are going to be taught in your career at some point, if you have not already, to read routes and read progressions. One of the most common ways to read the field is called a progression read. A progression read is where you go from route to route to route to route to route. It's usually it's a max of 5 progressions. But within those progressions, you can progress through defenders or zones of the field that defenders are either in or not in. And that's what causes you to react and make your decision. If you don't do that, your turnover or your touchdown to turnover ratio will not be in your favor. You'll just get caught up looking at receivers and losing sight of where your defenders are. And the defenders are most likely where your eyes are going with defender to defender. It's putting you in the proper position to pass the ball. And you're just trusting that because that defender left that area, you can throw it there. And your receiver should be there. They have to do their job, right?
Yeah,
We can't wait for them to get open. We have to anticipate. And this is a great job by your quarterback here. One step ball. Like the ball is released before the receiver even passes the read, right? As
yeah,
soon as 13 turns his head there, it's like throw. Same with that curl flat, right?
yeah,
Those are a couple decent. That was a good throw.
yeah.
That was a good throw by him. Um, okay, let's watch your return, and then I gotta go have dinner with my fiance. So, um, do you have any questions so far?
Not at the moment. I pretty much wrote everything down. So if
Good,
I do, I'll definitely text you.
good.
Oh, this is it right here.
Oh, first play?
Yeah, I
Hold
got
on, hold on,
Hawks
hold on. I gotta watch from the beginning. Full screen. I didn't
fresh
even
off.
ask if it was smooth for you earlier. Was the film smooth?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
perfect.
good.
Fresh off an injury.
Okay. Scooting.
Got him.
Oh, got hawked. Oh man.
Got him. Then they scored right after. I was sick.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good ball too by the quarterback again. Another good ball. Dang.
Yeah.
All right, dude. If you don't have any questions, have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you next week.
All right, coach. Have a good night too.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man.